this is AnimeIndecision. I'm here today with a solo review of Symphogear. Senki Zesho Symphogear, or I'll just call it Symphogear from now on, is a really odd show, in my opinion. You may or may not have noticed on AnimeIndecision that we mostly focus on action-oriented anime. Maybe it's shonen, maybe it's kind of a horror thing like Tokyo Ghoul, although it's a Shonen Jump series, so still shonen. We don't really touch on comedy or romantic comedy, shoujo, or magical girl shows. In fact, Symphogear is probably the closest this channel is ever going to get to reviewing a magical girl show. And I'm gonna say right now, Symphogear is not a magical girl show, but it's also not a typical magical girl show. In fact, I'm not sure they had any idea what their target audience was at all for this show. Cause I looked up merchandise for this show, because when I like a show, I like to support the show. And I couldn't find anything I wanted, because like every wall scroll was the girls in bikinis. There was a figurine of one of the main characters in a bunny suit for no reason. Because that's what makes her interesting, not the magical suit of armor and the machine guns. A bunny girl outfit. But it's so much like a magical girl show that you'd think the same guys they're trying to appeal to would be a little turned off. And as much as all of those wall scrolls were bikini shots, it's not like you get a lot of that in the show. There are some more fan-service-y angles sometimes, but nothing even enough to make it qualify as ecchi. Probably the most perverted thing in the entire show is the one girl, Chris's chest, which they always very lovingly animate. But in general, it's really not that strong on those elements. I mean, if you want an ecchi magical girl show, Kill la Kill might actually be closer to that than this. So on the magical girl side of things, you have all these magical girl elements like fighting through the power of song and the importance of friendship, and like the main character is always, like every time there's a new bad guy, the first thing she does is like, come on, we don't need to fight. Like she literally just tries to talk it out with people. But you have these elements like the girls use actual weapons. They use scythes, they use swords, they use machine guns for whatever reason. They look more like they're covered in robot pieces, slightly revealing robot pieces, but like in robot pieces and armor, not flouncy little suits. And the battles can be surprisingly brutal. Here are a bunch of girls, at least one of whom is an actual pop idol. And they fight monsters using the songs. And also ancient relics. By bringing out their song and making it harmonize with the relic, they put on these power suits. But there's one of the difference between a magical girl show and Symphogear. A magical girl show is all lace and ribbons and bows and really cute little flouncy skirts. And in Symphogear, their outfits are more like power suits. They look like they're part robot. You know, they have big mechanical pieces, and when it comes on, it's not like, wah! It's like, the one girl has giant machine guns and missiles. And her attack name is Mega Death Party. Felt like the band. Like, this is not what you see in Sailor Moon. I know, I watched Sailor Moon. In Sailor Moon, they're always fighting things that are blatantly non-human, but look like human. Like, this is a woman merged with a tire, and they're fighting it, and then it turns to dust, because it wasn't a real thing. And they never actually hurt anyone, they just drain energy from people. In Symphogear, the main things they're fighting are called the noise. Nobody knows where the noise comes from. The show animates the noise completely in CG. Not even like 2D outlines, just completely in CG, fighting against these 2D characters, which gives them an otherworldly feeling. At first, they don't seem that threatening because they're really pop bright colors, like they're pink and orange and yellow, like that. But here's the thing. When the noise touches a normal human being, they turn to dust. There are times where you're literally seeing a person's face as they stop mid-word, as their face starts to turn to dust. That's kind of horrific. If our heroes are too late to a scene, you just find mounds of dust on the ground that you know used to be human remains. But I want to go back to the source of the girls' powers, which are ancient relics. The show literally calls it heretical technology. I'm not sure they really thought that phrasing through, but whatever. So Hibiki is using Gungnir, the actual spear, and then Tsubasa is using a Japanese relic. And there are all these different relics from all these different religions, completely used just for rule of cool. Like, I don't think anyone actually really thought too deeply about the meanings of these weapons or the meanings of these things before they used them. This show also works really hard to show the friendship between the girls, and especially how they become friends, because basically every time our main character meets a new person and wants to be friends with them, there's always a reason that there's tension there, and it's something they have to work past before they can become friends. And you see as the series goes on, the ways that they trust each other more and more, even though they still manage to keep up their own personalities and still have their own issues as well. Our main character, Hibiki, is kind of your classic anime dumb klutz with a heart of gold. The kind who falls asleep during class all the time. The kind that can never do anything right, but she'll always work her hardest for her friends. And in fact, her motivation to start learning how to fight is purely to protect everyone she cares about. Her best friend Miku, I don't know what's going on with these two girls. I'm pretty sure the show is not actually trying to tell us that they're lesbians. I don't know if I'm just squinting and seeing it, but they really seem like a love couple to me. I'm sure I'm just reading into it. I know that Japanese friends tend to be kind of more comfortable with each other in certain things. Like, I've never had a bath with my best friend back home, but I know that in Japan you go to hot springs and you have baths with your friends, so it's not that weird. Miku is pretty much always there to support her. She's Hibiki's rock. And then all of the action kind of gets set off when Hibiki meets Tsubasa. Tsubasa is the aforementioned pop star, and she's basically been training to fight the noise all her life. She has removed desire and care from her body to try and make herself a weapon. She literally calls herself a sword. I am a sword. And we find out very quickly that her attitude of pushing away things other than the battle is because of direct experiences she's had with the fighting, things she's lost. And we just continue from there. We keep meeting new characters. There's so little I can tell you to explain how crazy this show is because of what a breakneck pace it moves at. And here's my real favorite thing about Symphogear. This show is crazy. We're not quite talking 10 out of 10 batshit crazy like Kill la Kill, but this show is strange. It moves lightning fast. Lightning fast. I've watched all 3 seasons that are, as of the time of this videotaping, finished. And it's unusual for me to get through an episode without saying, what the fuck? And I mean, keep in mind, I've already watched every episode that's come before. I'm watching the last episode of the last season, and I still can't believe what I'm seeing. They will just pull everything out of the hat. You think Tales from my D&D campaign always ends on a cliffhanger? This show always ends on a cliffhanger. Something just mind-boggling happens, and I know it's about to be the end of the episode every time. And in fact, in season 2, they have this end theme that starts like da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, and they'll layer that over the action. So something happens and then you hear da-da-da-da-da and you're like, no! And you get a couple more moments of something happening and then you have the other da-da-da-da-da and it goes to the end theme and you're like, no. So glad I was watching this show all at once and not as it was airing, because I think I would have gone slightly insane. As you might expect for a show where the main characters are singing to help themselves fight, the songs are really good. They're not quite like Macross, I want to rip every song and put them all on my MP3 player. It's not quite like that. But I think part of the problem there is the fact that the lyrics are in Japanese, and the lyrics are so good. Sometimes I have to rewatch a fight scene because instead of reading the actual dialogue, I was reading what they're singing. I'm struggling to explain why Symphogear is so awesome to me. It just moves at a breakneck pace, and it's a lot of fun. It's a rollicking good time. It's action-paced, it's fast, I never feel bored. Sometimes you actually wish the show would slow down and explain itself a second, but that's not its strength. Its strength is just to be a spectacle. It makes good use of CG animation, usually reserving CG for things that are extra normal, which makes them stand out from real things that are supposed to really exist. It makes excellent use of music, and it's not afraid to do things that are completely nuts, to completely twist things around at a moment's notice. Pretty much every episode has a wow moment, or an oh my god moment, or a WTF moment. There are a lot of WTF moments. I will say, I think the climactic battles of the seasons might actually be the weak points of the season, because that's where the magical girlness comes in a little strong, where it's just like, by our powers combined, we will make a big light beam, and you will shoot a big light beam, and our two light beams will meet. But I think there's enough interesting stuff happening with the characters before and after that, and usually the goals of the villain of the season are just completely bonkers. These are not villains who want to conquer the world, these are villains who want to blow up the world, these are villains who want to destroy the galaxy. These people do not have, like, rational sense-making plans. So there definitely are magical girl elements, and if you literally have an allergy to magical girlness, then you might not be able to take this show. But if you don't mind having those girly elements along with some cool elements, then it might be worth taking a try on this show. So, if a big roller coaster ride of crazy characters in ridiculous outfits fighting monsters while singing to save the world at a breakneck pace sounds interesting to you, please give this show a chance. I feel like this show has not gotten a lot of chances because they have such mixed signals for what they want their audience to be. Symphogear has already been confirmed for a season 4 and a season 5. So, if you are interested, now's the time to get in on it before you fall too far behind. And as Hibiki says, Eki hechera. Bye-bye.